Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back. I've got a fresh breakdown of the latest Adrenalin driver update from AMD 26.2.1. Right off the bat, this release brings support for a few big name games. And that means if you're running an AMD GPU and you play these titles, you'll probably want to know what's changed. New game additions include support for Yakuza Kiwami 3 and Dark Ties, plus support for Neo 3. So those of you who like high fidelity visuals and want the best possible compatibility should be happy to see those listed specifically by the vendor. Support here means the driver should better recognize and optimize for game engines, upscaling, frame generation, and any platform-specific features AMD exposes in the Adrenalin software. On the fixes side, there are a couple of targeted bug squashes worth calling out. Players using Radeon RX 9000 series Silicon reported corrupted clouds in Arc Raiders, and that visual corruption was addressed as part of this release. Another important fix tackles an intermittent application crash experienced by folks running the finals with ray tracing enabled on Radeon RX 7000 series products. If you've been losing games or sessions because the app unexpectedly quit while ray tracing was on, this driver includes a fix that should reduce or eliminate that specific failure mode. Those two items are the kind of focused stability work that can make a noticeable difference for affected players, even if they don't change raw frame rates. That said, the release also lists a handful of known issues that are still active and that you should be aware of before you hit install, because they can affect gameplay or the experience of using the Adrenalin software. Loading a saved game in Cyberpunk 2077 with path tracing enabled may cause intermittent application crashes or driver timeouts, and AMD says they're working with the game developer on a resolution to be released as quickly as possible. There are similar reports of intermittent crashes or timeouts while playing Battlefield 6 on systems equipped with the AMD Ryzen AI 9HX 370 platform, another issue under active investigation with the developer. Users of Roblox experiences, specifically the car zone racing and drifting scenarios in Roblox Player, might see crashes when they task switch between media while running on Radeon RX 7000 series hardware. Also, some players have reported texture flickering or corruption in Battlefield 6 if AMD's record and stream functionality is enabled. That can be maddening if you're trying to capture footage or stream gameplay while also wanting clean visuals. Another quirky but important known issue, AMD FSR upscaling and FSR frame generation can appear inactive inside the Adrenalin software when playing the Yakuza entry and Dark Ties or when playing Call of Duty. Black Ops 7 on Radeon RX 9000 series cards, even though the features may actually be enabled in the game. That can be confusing because your in-game performance might reflect the upscaling or frame generation, but the software UI won't properly indicate the active state, so you could be unsure whether the tech is doing its job. There's also a note about AMD Install Manager, sometimes failing to install optional drivers, and the release points users to use the direct installer link available on the release page as a workaround if they run into installer problems. Beyond gameplay-specific items, the release notes include a few practical items you should know about for installations and rollbacks. If you ever need to downgrade to a previous Adrenalin release, AMD recommends running the AMD Cleanup utility to help ensure a clean uninstall before installing an older package. That reduces the chance of leftover files or registry entries causing conflicts. The package supports Windows 10 and Windows 11 systems, as listed on the official documentation, and the installer requires administrator rights to complete. That's standard, but worth calling out because partial installs can cause odd behavior. There's an explicit note that this particular driver isn't intended for Radeon products running under Apple Boot Camp platforms. If you're on a Mac using Boot Camp, you should check with your system manufacturer for driver support rather than using this package. AMD also highlights their auto detect and install driver update option as the preferred method for finding the latest driver across all AMD products, which can save you from picking the wrong package manually. For people who care about legal and EULA details, the release emphasizes that by clicking download, you're agreeing to the end user license agreement for the software. And if you don't agree, you don't have a license to use the download. That's typical but worth remembering, especially for enterprise or compliance-minded viewers. The notes also mention that if the optional driver install fails through the AMD Install Manager, users should use the direct download link on the release page. That's a repeat of the workaround and one of those small but practical bits of information that can save time.